Hello YouTube, I am the Planet Rocks, and today we're going to be playing through Chess of Blades. The first route that we're going to go through is Franz's route, so it's going to take a little while to get to him. And I just want to let you know that there are adult scenes at the end of every one of these routes, provided that we make all of the right choices and increase his affection level to the level it needs to be. And those scenes will be posted on Twitter, and there will be a link to the Pornhub place where they will be showing. And during those scenes, I will be entirely quiet. I will not be saying anything. I'll give you ample time to read everything that happens, just to let you know that's where they're going to be. And they occur at the end of all these routes. So this is technically kind of like a visual novel, so I will be reading along as we go through this. It's also, there are voiceovers in this game, and I will be quiet when those parts occur. So let's get started. Calm down. My hair is perfect. It has to be. I spent 4 hours grooming myself earlier. Oh, gods. Gods help me. Now isn't the time to get stage fright. Come on, pull yourself together.
I take great pleasure in presenting our next guest.
Straighten up, look presentable, smile.
The sole heir of our beloved Lord and Lady Varrision.
Deep breaths, deep breaths. Here it comes.
Rivian Varrision.
Damn it. I bet they're going to laugh at my hair. Well, go on already. Laugh, stupid, bloody, puffed-up nobles.
Oh, he's so cute.
Why can't you be an upstanding son like that? You're a shame to this family.
Thanks, Dad.
What a charming young man. You must introduce yourself to him after this Violetta.
Yeah, you get it, Mom.
He's Varrison's boy. I should speak with him later.
Smile, smile, pretend you want to be here. Oh no, this is bad. Where do I go now that I'm here? There's no protocol for this, is there? I just want to go home.
Sir, I have been requested to bring you upstairs when you arrive.
A sharply dressed man, a servant, suddenly approaches my side, bending forward slightly in a bow.
Are you sure you have the right person?
Yes, sir. You are Sir Rivian, are you not?
I give him a suspicious nod. Am I about to be wheedled into some marriage proposal?
Excellent. This way, sir.
Right.
I fall into step behind the well-dressed servant, gazing all around me as I go. It's even more spectacular than I thought it'd be. So many people in so many lavish outfits. The cost of that woman's dress probably outweighs our whole kingdom's treasury. Also, is it just my imagination, or are people staring at me? Is my hair that bad? I really thought I'd done it properly.
Come introduce yourself later, darling.
Thanks, but I'll have to pass.
Here we are, sir.
The servant stops after we ascend the stairs, leading to the overlooking balcony, turning around to face me with another bow.
I appreciate it, but, why did you take me here again?
As the butler opens his mouth to reply...
Riv! Over here!
Is that whose voice I think it is? No, that's impossible.
The gentleman who requested you is over there, sir. Please enjoy the rest of your evening.
After his concisely polite words, the servant turns and elegantly descends the staircase once more. But before I can turn back around, a firm tug pulls at my arm.
Rivian! I know you remember me. It's only been 4 years.
The familiar face of an energetic young man appears in front of me.
Oh, I remember you all right, Arden.
Can't you look a little happier to see your old friend? You have the expression of a man at a funeral, not at a dance.
With a sulky frown, he nudges my shoulder with a hand. I'd forgotten that this man doesn't know the phrase personal
How
space.
did you know I'd be here? No. More importantly, why are you here? Weren't you serving in the king's army?
I was, yes, until I was promoted to serving in his royal guard.
His over-enthusiasm incites in me a strong desire to punch him. You only got the job because your father's a duke, you bastard.
I'm so proud of you. Shouldn't you be on duty rather than frolicking around then?
He doesn't need his whole force for a week-long retreat, you know. I was given permission to attend as a guest.
Oh, right. I forgot that this damn celebration lasts 5 whole days. How am I going to make it back alive?
Did Lord and Lady Varrision not come with you? You look a little lost and alone.
Piss off! I'm just not used to being around so many noisy people at once, that's all.
The last thing I want him to know is that it's the first grand event I've attended by myself. I'd never hear the end of his ridiculous teasing.
Going back to my previous question, how on earth did you know that I'd be coming to the party?
You're the new center of attention, that's why. Everyone loved and respected your father so much when he worked as the king's chief general and strategist. It's only natural his newly marriageable son catches the public eye.
He winks and gives me a pointed nudge. It's people like you who make me want to wear spikes on my clothing, Arden. As we talk, I notice the crowd is starting to gravitate towards the large ballroom doors in the main floor below. I guess it means it's about time for that. Ugh, the thought makes me feel slightly nauseated. In that case, I should extract myself before I get dragged into anything.
Well, there'll be plenty of time for us to catch up later. In the meantime, where are they keeping the wine?
Hashtag priorities.
Ah, well, it's over by the terrace doors. The dancing's about to start, you know. Aren't you coming?
I'm not going for Arden, so I think this Dancing How Horrific is the best choice. Ignoring Arden's eager gaze, I shudder and quickly shake my head. There's one thing right now I absolutely do not want to do, and that's prancing around in the damned ballroom.
No, I need to be thoroughly inebriated before I can even tolerate the idea of dancing, you see. I wish you the best of luck, though. Tear up that ballroom floor in my honor.
Riv, wait!
Before he can grab a hold of my arm again, I quickly retreat and make a beeline for the wine table. But I soon get immersed in the crowd, heading in the opposite direction, and a sea of lacy dresses surrounds me in a fury of fluttering. Bloody hell, how can there be so many people in one place?
Yoo-hoo! Come dance with me, darling.
I already have a date, sorry.
Somehow, I managed to evade the overly aggressive woman from earlier, her lips twisting into a sour pout after I hastily decline. The crowd thins out as most of them head down to grand staircases, and I finally worm my way over to the terrace doors.
Whew.
Oh, what I wouldn't give to be at home right now, curled in my warm bed with a book. I still can't believe Father and Mother sent me all the way out here by myself. They know I don't do well at parties, so they send me to a 5-night extravaganza of extravagance? Cruel, cruel parents.
At least you're here for me, my sweet Ambrosia.
Sighing gratefully, I pick up a glass that's already filled with dark red liquid. I was never allowed to drink much when I attended balls with my family, so I'll be damned if I don't make the most of this. The grand celebration of the king's birthday. Almost a full week of parties, dancing, games. I even heard there's a festival. Out here in the mountains, the royal family's retreat is more of a miniature town than anything. There's shops, market stalls, temporary houses, and a jousting arena, all set up for this occasion alone. And of course, there's the picturesque castle we're in right now. Only a fraction of the size of the actual castle in the capital city, but still magnificent. Still, it took 5 days to travel here by carriage. Why the hell does it have to be so remote? I feel like I'm in some kind of secluded prison or something, even if it's an admittedly lavish one.
What have I gotten myself into?
Taking a long drink of my saving grace, I head over to the balcony railing to gaze down at the emptied floor below. It looks a lot different now that almost all the guests have gone into the ballroom. I can hear the muffled sound of music from behind the grand doors. I think I'll make myself inconspicuous until we're shown to our rooms, and maybe just hide under the covers for the next few days. Is someone whispering? I turn my head sharply to search for the source of the noise, but I can't see anyone. Are they on the terrace? I whirl around in an attempt to catch the whisperers off guard, but no one's there. Probably just some young couple exchanging dirty lines under their breath. I wish they weren't acting so eerily stealthy about it, though.
Is something the matter, sir?
Yeah.
The servant's suddenly standing beside me again. Speaking of eerily stealthy, how did he sneak up like that?
No, nothing's the matter. Just enjoying some private time with my beau.
I motion to my wine and offer a firm nod.
I see. May I ask if you managed to meet with Sir Arden? He was very excited about seeing you.
Yes, I met up with him, all right.
If I may be so bold, you do not seem overly thrilled with the prospect of his company.
Pursing my lips hesitantly, I tap a fingernail against the glass in my hand.
It's a little more complicated than that, but I don't particularly want to discuss the details.
Of course. I apologize for intruding on your private affairs. However, Sir Arden pulled me aside again and requested you join him in the ballroom.
Well, I'm not joining him in the damn ballroom. He can find someone else to bother.
The vehemency of my reply makes the servant blink in surprise, and I immediately feel a little sheepish for my outburst.
Well, His Majesty at least would not wish you to dance if you did not want to. I am certain.
I clear my throat, nodding a little awkwardly in reply. I suppose I really shouldn't snap at this poor butler, considering it's not his fault Arden's an insufferable louse.
How long does the dance last, out of curiosity?
Well, this is already the second dance of the night, my lord. His Majesty enjoys letting his noble guests have time to mingle and refresh themselves in between. The schedule of festivities for the remaining days shall be announced after this dance, I believe.
The schedule, huh? I suppose I should be present to hear that at least.
My musings are rewarded with a nod of agreement by the servant.
What's your name, anyway? This is already the second time I've seen you, and I'm sure it won't be the last time if I'm here for 5 days.
Looking a little pleasantly surprised at my question, the man tilts his head slightly.
Guests do not usually inquire after the names of servants. But I am called Silas, sir.
Well, Silas, any way I might be able to convince you to lead me to my room after the schedule announcement?
I offer him my most winning smile.
No, I didn't mean anything like that. I just wanted to turn any...
Well, regardless of your intentions, sir, I am not supposed to leave the main hall until instructed.
Fine.
You never fail to impress with your social skills, Rivian. Like a greased elephant skating on ice.
Silas!
Before I can skulk away to the ballroom to hide my shame, a high-pitched voice suddenly peals in the air. A moment later, a little girl comes running up beside Silas. She's probably not older than 10 and cute as a button, but I can tell from her outfit that she's not a nobleman's child. Something about her reminds me of someone, but I can't put my finger on who.
Hello, Hazel. Is something the matter?
I don't like staying in the kitchens by myself. It's so dark, and I always feel like someone's watching me.
Clinging onto Silas's sleeve, she turns her large eyes in my direction.
I can't blame you. Ever since I almost caught on fire during a visit to our Mana's cook, I never liked kitchens either.
She giggles a little, rocking on her toes. Well, at least I can make conversation with little girls. Wait, that's not something to be proud of.
I'm afraid I have to stay here, Hazel. Wasn't your mother supposed to be there with you?
She said she had to leave for a little while, but I had to stay put in the kitchen. I want to go see the pretty ladies and gentlemen dancing.
I wish I could be as enthusiastic as you about it.
Hazel pleadingly pulls at Silas's arm, staring up at him. He grimaces, probably being torn in half by the puppy dog eyes and his sense of duty.
I'm very sorry, but the young gentleman here is free to enter the ballroom, you know. He might be willing to take you.
Oh, you conniving bastard. The hint of a smirk on his lips makes me wonder if he hadn't planned this from the start.
Really? Would you take me, sir?
Well, I'd rather not become a permanent villain in this child's mind, so I guess there's no helping it. Shooting a venomous glare at Silas's beaming face, I shove my half-empty glass at him to hold, grab Hazel's hand, and stalk glumly towards the stairs. The little girl goes quiet, but her sparkling eyes are full of eagerness. We head down to the lower floor, and I lead Hazel over to the huge ballroom doors. From inside, the sound of a fast-paced waltz mingled with many footsteps and peals of laughter reaches my ears.
Let's just take a little peek, okay?
Hazel enthusiastically nods in reply, so I reach out to pull open one of the doors slightly. The dazzling shimmer of numerous whirling dresses first greets my eyes, all but blinding. A sea of colorful, elegant figures swirls across the gleaming floor, waltzing in time with the upbeat music. The light from the chandeliers sparkles and glimmers, and moonbeams faintly stream in from the windows on the side. I can't help but watch the guests' graceful movements for a few moments, admiring both the statuesque men and the beautifully clad women. They make it look awfully pretty, I have to say. I suppose dancing isn't a bad thing to spectate. Still, there's no way I'd ever enjoy being out there on the floor.
Have you ever danced before, Hazel?
Still watching through the wide crack in the door, I wait for the expected eager reply.
Hazel?
She's gone. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this one. This first option's kinda mean. While my first instinct is to be annoyed, I admit I'm a bit worried about what'll happen to the girl if she's found somewhere she's not supposed to be. At an official event, a servant's daughter frolicking around in the ballroom is something that would probably warrant punishment for both the girl and her parents. Hazel certainly deserves a stern talking to, but I don't want her to get in trouble. She'd definitely cry. Ugh. I'm getting too soft.
This is the last damn time I ever play babysitter.
I hastily search for Silas in the balcony above, but he's nowhere to be seen. What a bastard of a butler, shoving the responsibility for looking after her on me. Sighing, I reluctantly step inside the ballroom, managing to avoid any undue attention by sticking to the corners. More than half the guests are engaged in the lively waltz, with everyone else admiring and chatting from the sides. No Hazel over there, or over there. Where on earth did she run off to?
Oh, is that who I think it is? Come to dance with me after all.
Oh no. This couldn't possibly get any worse.
No, I'm just here to watch, you see.
She's coming towards me at an alarming speed. Escape route, escape route. Where the hell can I go?
Excuse me, miss. I have to take him from you for a moment, I'm afraid.
Just before the woman reaches out to me, a familiar shape steps between us.
Oh, what a shame. Do come back soon.
Arden?
Come with me over here for a moment, if you would, my friend.
Baffled, but relieved, I let Arden drape his arm around my shoulders and guide me in the direction of a relatively quiet corner. I didn't want to run into him either, but if I had to choose the lesser of two evils, it'd probably be Arden.
Thanks for that, I suppose.
I let out a low mutter while we walked, trying not to sound overly grateful, so Arden doesn't take it as a cue to latch onto me more.
I did warn you, didn't I? Your being of marriageable age means you're bound to catch the eye of girls like that. But, more importantly, did you finally change your mind and decide to come dance?
Don't spout drivel, Arden. I'm looking for a little girl.
When we reach the corner, Arden pauses, casting me a curious and maybe slightly suspicious glance.
Little girl? Do you have a cousin or something I don't know about?
It's complicated. Either way, I'm guessing you haven't seen her.
Arden shakes his head, and I let out a sigh. Well, it's not my problem, I guess. Hazel knows her way around here better than I do, anyway.
You have good timing, though. I think the announcement is about to begin.
Announcement? Oh, the schedule of festivities?
Nodding, Arden points to the center of the ballroom floor, where the numerous couples are starting to drift away and towards the corners, making way for a fancily dressed man with a scroll in his hands. The music dies down gradually and comes to a stop, and the chatter diminishes to quiet whispers. Arden keeps his arm hanging around my shoulders, and I find myself too tired to bother with shooing him off.
Esteemed ladies and gentlemen of the court,
I really hope he keeps this short and sweet.
Is anything in court affairs ever short and sweet?
it is my pleasure to welcome you to the first day of our gracious Royal Highness's birthday celebration festivities. His Majesty wishes to thank you all for your attendance.
Why can't his royal birthday boy come out and thank us himself?
Tomorrow will mark the beginning of the Spring Festival being held in His Majesty's honor. In the morning, the outdoor stores and shops shall open for you, and games shall be hosted for your enjoyment. The festival shall continue for 3 days. Afterwards, on the fourth and final day of the royal celebration, there shall be a grand masquerade, which all guests are expected to attend.
I don't think you'll be able to get out of dancing in that one, Riv.
Ugh.
His Royal Highness hopes his gentle guests enjoy the rest of their time at the castle estate, and looks forward to joining you in merriment. Now, guests who wish to retire for the night may adjourn to their rooms upstairs. Our gracious maestro has agreed to several more songs for those who would delight in a little more dancing.
As delicate applause fills the ballroom, I quickly pull away from Arden's grip and clear my throat.
Oh, that's my cue, I'm afraid. Perhaps I'll see you in the morning.
Leaving me? Again? You're so horribly mean.
Abandoning Arden for the second time this evening, I give him a lazy half-bow before turning towards the doors. I wonder if Silas is the one who's supposed to escort us to our rooms. If so, he's going to get the chewing out he sorely deserves. As some of the other guests and I return to the main hall, however, we're instead attended by a host of other servants I haven't seen before. Slightly disappointed not to have a chance to punch that butler's face, I follow along as we're led up another staircase to the second floor, where most of the guest accommodations seem to be.
And this room is yours, sir?
My thanks.
In the hallway, a polite maid opens the door to what are presumably my chambers for the duration of this celebration. She hands me the key before attending to the next guest, so I step inside the room and shut the door behind me with a sigh of relief. Finally. A moment to breathe. I'd forgotten how incredibly exhausting this whole socializing business was. The room before me is a cozy one, illuminated by a few candelabras and the auburn flicker of the fireplace. The magnificently sized bed looks more than a little inviting, as do the plush chairs nearby. If I close my eyes and inhale the slightly smoky, dusty scent, I can practically envision myself back home. I wander over to the small doors at the back of the room, peering through the glass. Goodness, I even have a little balcony of my own. I suppose these guest rooms were probably made with spoiled nobility in mind. Pulling the doors open, I step out curiously onto the elegant terrace, gazing up at the clear night sky. The wind ruffles through my hair, and I close my eyes for a moment to enjoy the cool sensation washing over me.
3 days of a festival, and then a masquerade. Huh.
As much as I hate to admit it, the festival sounds like it might be rather fun. My parents never felt obliged to take me to any festivals as a little boy, so I always had the sense that I was missing out whenever my friends would talk about them. And that masquerade ball. I certainly wasn't informed I'd need a mask, that's for sure. Thanks, Father. Perhaps I can buy one at the festival. I suppose if I'd have to choose any type of dance to partake in, a masquerade seems like the most interesting. Maybe a mask will even let me hide from Arden and that damned woman. The best of both worlds. Smirking to myself, I idly glance over to my left, hearing a faint shuffling noise. What the? It's an adjoining balcony with the room next to me. And there's someone over there leaning against the balustrade. How the hell didn't I notice before? After my undignified yelp, the shadowy figure on the opposite side of the balcony turns slowly towards me. With the moonlight illuminating his features, I can identify that it's a man, for the slanted shape of his mouth is unmistakably male.
My apologies, sir. I didn't realize we were adjoined neighbors.
Instead of an immediate reply, the man takes a slow step towards me, crossing the thin connecting walkway between our balconies.
Really, there's no need to be angry, sir. I promise I wasn't.
Excuse my rudeness.
Mm-hmm.
The tall, tanned man bows lowly before me, lifting his head with a subtle glimmer in his eyes.
I just had to be sure it was Lord Varrison's son I had the privilege of finally meeting.
Oh, of course. Someone else who only identifies me as my father's son. I straighten up, feeling decidedly less deferential.
Well, you're not mistaken. I prefer to be called Rivian rather than Varrison's son, however.
My apologies, Rivian. I already knew your name, but I didn't wish to seem rude by addressing you so coarsely.
Oh, well, I suppose that's all right then.
This man is surprisingly polite. Something about his manner and clothing makes me think he's from a different place. Is he a foreigner?
It must be an act of fate that you were brought to me so swiftly. You are precisely the one I have been looking for.
Me? Are you sure you don't mean my father? He's not here if so.
He shakes his head, lips curling into a cryptic smirk. Who exactly is this man? He gives off a much more dangerous air than your average courtier.
I wanted to give you a warning. A hint, if you will. You're sharp, I'm sure, with a man like Lord Varrison as your father. So I doubt you'll take long to catch on.
What the hell are you talking?
Before I can so much as struggle, I find myself abruptly turned about, pinned against the balustrade, staring down at the long fall to the cliffs below.
You think this long celebration is just for the sake of the king's egoism? No. It's something far more than that.
Since this is Franz's route, I think maybe I should hear him out. I can feel my heart pounding in my chest, but strangely enough, I don't sense any killing intent from this man. I suppose I can hear him out, just in case there's something important I don't know. Since when did diplomacy become so hands-on, though, for the love of the gods? I glimpse a pleased smirk on his face when I slowly relax in the cage of his arms, a sour grimace curling on my own lips.
You see, the nobility here are not merely those from your own kingdom. Some of these lords and ladies hail from beyond these borders, myself included, and some of them are former citizens or allies of smaller nations whose armies were crushed under your kingdom's fists.
So, precisely what the hell does that have to do with me?
Use your pretty head for a moment, little dove. The man who expertly controlled your forces' movements, who knew through spies everything his enemies would do, who outwitted them at every turn.
The stranger's lips aren't far from my ear, and his warm breath tickles lightly against my skin.
That was your father, Rivian. And now his darling son is far from home, in a nest of enemies among friends.
A shiver runs down my spine as long, rough fingers tighten around my jaw.
I already told you I'm not my father.
Your overshadowing bloodline may be irksome to you, but it is everything to those who hate Lord Varrision. And you're so very vulnerable, all alone. If I were one of those enemies, you'd be lying in a picturesque pool of your own blood right now, or smashed into little bitty pieces on those cliffs below. And neither of us want that, do we?
The low, softly threatening tone of his voice makes my fingers tightly curl into fists, and I struggle desperately to not show my growing anxiety.
Quit with your fancy words and tell me what the point of this all is.
The point of it all? It's rather simple. A storm is brewing, Rivian. There are forces at work that seek to unravel this peaceful celebration into a diplomatic disaster. And I have a feeling things will turn bloody before long.
He lets out a low laugh, releasing me from his embrace, only to turn me around and press my back against the balustrade, staring down at me with cool, glittering eyes.
Mark my words. Something unpleasant is going to happen very soon, within the walls of this fancy resort that all you pretty little nobles are trapped in. And you, the heir of one of the kingdom's cleverest, most ruthless men, you will find yourself in the middle of it, whether you like it or not.
Beads of cold sweat break out on the nape of my neck as those words sink into my skull. This is the absolute worst nightmare I could have imagined. There's no way he could really be telling the truth, right?
Whether or not you inherited the sharpness of your father is something we'll all learn by the end of this celebration. Don't you think?
Based on if I make it to my carriage alive on the final day?
The tall stranger seems amused when I grind my teeth angrily, but he gives a nod of confirmation.
I'd like to ask how you know all this, but you're so full of cryptic drivel that I doubt I get a straight answer. So let me ask you instead.
Damn it. I was trying to think of something that sounded cool and collected, but now I'm drawing a blank.
What is your name?
The man blinks. Well, if I wasn't expecting it, he probably wasn't expecting it either. Soon, though, a pleased expression drifts over his well-chiseled features, lips curling in a wolfish grin.
My name? It's Franz, my little lord. At your service.
He reaches out towards my hand, bringing the back of it to his lips. But I quickly pull away and give his chest a vehement shove, dodging out of his grasp.
You should be the one to fall off the balcony, perverted bastard. I promise you won't be missed.
Franz's lips pursed together mockingly, a theatrical sigh making his broad chest rise and fall.
The least you could do is thank me. But I guess the angry kitten act is just your unique way of showing gratitude. I'll be returning to my own room then. Unless you're planning on inviting me inside yours.
I'd sooner invite in one of these purported assassins who want to leave me in a picturesque pool of my own blood.
Snickering, he lifts his shoulders in an innocent shrug, turning to make his way back towards his side of the balcony.
Should you need my help, do seek me out. But remember, I'm only one piece of the puzzle you may need to solve.
His vague words are accompanied by a faint, unreadable glint in his eyes. With that, he shoves his hands in his pockets and gracefully strides over towards his room's door, and I glare at his back until it disappears.
What the hell is happening with this damn place?
The warmth and sensation of Franz's fingers curled around my chin still lingers, making me shudder. More unsettling, though, are the lasting fragments of the words he left behind. Alrighty, so we have met Franz. I think I'm going to call it a day on this playthrough. Thank you, everybody. Thank you again for joining me today. Next week, I will upload the second part of the Franz play route of Chest of Blades. Thank you again for joining me. I am the Planet Rocks. Be sure to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and like this video. I'll see you next week.